Aloha. We got Tony Micheals here. Tony Micheals podcast. Let's see. It's Bernie Sanders is not the leader we need, and here's why. I haven't watched this yet, but I think I already agree with him. Oh.
Oh my God. Tony can't say anything bad about Bernie. Oh man. Good old Birdman. Good old Birdman. History lesson a little bit on Bernie Sanders. Just a little bit of history lesson on how Bernie actually plays with the voters, specifically Democratic primary voters. In 2020, Bernie Sanders was running against Joe Biden. Now, this is before the pandemic had really hit, and they started the primary up. And you remember, Joe Biden was broke, and Bernie was going to win. He was going to win Texas. He's going to win California. He's going to win all these states.
It was a good time.
And Joe Biden was asked about this in a press gaggle. I mean, I could probably pull the footage. But he's asked about it in a press gaggle about him being broke, having no money in his campaign, and that Bernie Sanders just wiped the floor with him in Iowa. And Joe Biden at the time said, wait till we get to South Carolina. But if you remember, there was a lot of people in that primary, right?
Yeah.
One of the main discourse items in that primary between the Democrats was the words Medicare for all. Remember that?
I do, yes.
Do you remember how people were fighting? Kamala Harris was fighting over Medicare for all. Elizabeth Warren, actually, she was working her way up in those polls, and then she adopted the Medicare for all thing, and she tanked her campaign. And Joe Biden stayed the course. Joe Biden's like, nope, we're not doing Medicare for all. We're gonna fix the ACA. Do you remember that was kind of the language, the discourse that happened in that primary? Because there was no clear winner. There was no clear candidate. I mean, Joe Biden kind of, because he was the vice president of the United States. But, I mean, a lot of people liked Elizabeth Warren. I know personally a lot of my liberal friends loved Pete Buttigieg. But it didn't appear that he was ready. You had Andrew Yang.
It was funny. I know a lot of people who liked Pete Buttigieg at first, but after he was out for like, say, a month or two, they're all like, yeah, no, he was fake. They didn't like him after that.
Which was really weird. You had Tulsi Gabbard, the Russian plant. You had the really rich guy. What was the really rich guy's name?
So I think it's funny when people talk about plants and stuff. We are the biggest nation to do plants all over the world. We do subterfuge, whatever. Like, we topple nations and stuff. And then if you look at the United States and what they do and what the CIA does around the world, wouldn't you try to stop that? Wouldn't you try to send some people in to be like, man, we got to calm these people down?
Yeah, we had like a billionaire running. We had like a billionaire running for president of the United States. I'll think of his name here in a moment in that primary. But you had people like Amy Klobuchar, the senator.
Not Blumenthal. Is it Blumenthal? Something like that.
But in that primary, Joe Biden was right in that gaggle. He said, you just wait till South Carolina. When we go to South Carolina, I'm going to beat the pants off Bernie. And that's when this shit's gonna start.
With a little help from Obama, man, it's crazy. I can't believe Obama did that. Like, I thought we were gonna win. I did not see that coming. I didn't even know that was possible. Obama had everybody drop out and get behind Biden, and Elizabeth Warren stay in to break up Bernie's votes. Like, that was nuts, man. That was slicker than I thought. I did not know that could happen.
And he did. He did. Now, it's not because Joe Biden has a crystal ball or something, but there's one thing Joe Biden fundamentally understood, is that the phrase Medicare for all was really unpopular. Highly unpopular.
I don't know how that could be unpopular. To who?
It was very popular with Bernie's base, with his crowd following, but that wasn't.
And Bernie had a massive base. Bernie's base was all the people. Like, Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton or anybody, I guess Hillary wasn't in that race, but like all the other people had like, what, maybe 1,000, 2,000 people at the most at their rallies. Normally not even that, like hundreds of people. Bernie had like 10 to 20,000 people at every rally. That's crazy.
Wasn't enough to carry him through the primary. He just never had the numbers. He didn't have the numbers in 16. He didn't have the numbers in 20.
You talking about Bernie? He totally had the
Popular
numbers.
with Bernie's base, with his crowd following, but that wasn't enough to carry him through the primary.
It would have been without
He
Obama.
just never had the numbers. He didn't have the numbers in 16. He didn't have the numbers in 20. And the reason why is because Bernie Sanders' messaging is off.
Oh.
It's off.
I thought this was going to be a little bit different. Bernie Sanders' messaging is off. He has the best messaging of anybody left of the left of the Republicans, at least.
It's not that it was bad. It's not that Bernie was saying the wrong things or had the wrong aim. I mean, there's a few things that Bernie has opinions on that I completely disagree with.
Like what?
Right? But most of the policy points, especially when you do at a 50,000-foot level.
I'm not sure what that means.
But Bernie Sanders was the one who was promising people that what he would do is use his ink as the president to eliminate all student debt. And Joe Biden tried it, and it didn't happen.
I think Bernie Sanders has a little bit more trying than Joe Biden, especially at this age. Joe Biden was barely alive when he got voted in. So, I mean, no matter how hard he tried, I bet he couldn't do a whole lot. Like, if you're dying, what are you going to do?
I'm not saying Bernie's bad, okay? That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying Bernie's bad. So it says Bernie is popular, but he doesn't have many achievements. Now, I will disagree just a bit with that. And the reason why I'll disagree with that just a bit is because Bernie is in leadership, and he's not a Democrat, which is a huge accomplishment, a huge achievement. It is very rare that a political party will allow someone who is independent but caucuses with them to be in their leadership and to change their platform. They certainly changed their platform in 2020 at the Democratic National Convention. They changed a lot of their primary rules after the 2016 primary, where Hillary Clinton beat the pants off of him. And that's the truth. Wow. Hillary Clinton beat the pants off Bernie Sanders in the primary. She wiped the floor with him. And the reason why...
That's crazy. Hillary Clinton straight cheated him. They even said that the DNC was a company and that they didn't have to follow the will of the voters or whatever. What do you call them? The delegates could pick whoever they wanted. I think he's probably young. He wasn't following back in 2016, I bet. He's reading stuff, I bet. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about right here.
Why is because Bernie Sanders isn't a Democrat. That's why. Mr. Dragon says, socialism isn't bad. I didn't say socialism is bad. That's not what I said. That's what a shitload of Americans have been fucking duped in believing. That somehow socialism is Marxism and it's communism, and they're going to come eat your children.
Well, socialism is the lead to communism. Communism is when you're done with socialism, like you get the society how you want it, and you're at that golden level or whatever of utopia. But socialism is the change from capitalism to the better society, to a people first society, to it's societyism to communityism. So I mean, he doesn't really know what he's talking about when it comes to socialism. And I was thinking he was going to be critiquing Bernie from the left, saying that he's not the leader we need now because he wasn't going far enough. So he's critiquing Bernie from the right. So I'm probably going to disagree with him about why he's critiquing Bernie for almost everything.
Because they're socialists. I'm not saying socialism bad. The word sucks. Okay? It's kind of like universal.
Societyism. How does the word suck? Just because the right wing or the Western whatever ideals make you think socialism is bad? Learn something. Like, that's not, and that's why I like to use the words left, socialism, communism. Like, look at what a real communist is. Look at what a real socialist is. Look at what they do, and then that's what socialism is. Socialism isn't what a capitalist tells you. A capitalist is going to lie to you about what socialism is because they're a capitalist. They want to keep capitalism. They wouldn't be like, oh, socialism is societyism, and it's where you put people over money. Why would a capitalist ever really tell you that?
Universal pre-K, universal health care. You got to stop participating in the language that handicaps us, because it does.
Oh, so yeah, see, he's a hard centrist, right? So if you're on the left, if you're of the Green Party, you're actual progressive or of the left, use the words, but live the words and show what the words mean by your actions. To run from, so he sounded like Crystal Ball earlier talking about trying to get progressive ideas out there sounding moderate. It's not progressive if you're moderate. If you're a moderate, be a moderate. Like why? I do not understand why these people act like. Well, I guess he's not really acting like he's on the left, but let's see.
It cripples our ability to message to the people that we want to message to the most, which is the working class, the great American working class.
Communism is workers of the world uniting. Communism is all about the working class. That's what it is. The hammer and sickle. The hammer is what you use in a factory. The sickle is what the farmer uses, at least old school style, right? That's what the Russian flag is. The Russian flag is the hammer and sickle, the socialist flag. It's about the workers, the factory worker and the farmer worker coming together. These people are so silly, man. Like, own our words. If you're on the left, own those words. Live those words and show what they mean. Don't be scared.
You cannot appeal to their economic plight when they believe that you are socialist, and in that form and fashion, you will not be able to serve their economic plight, because they believe, and they've been brainwashed into believing, that it is socialism that has given them this plight.
It's funny. I used to run a nonprofit that shut down because of COVID. But I would write grants and take money in from companies and organizations and whatnot, and then we go around and do sports camps and educational. What do we call it? Well, the sports camps are mixed with education, right? So you go from one sport to an education to a sport to an education, back and forth. It normally be like half-hour classes or blocks or whatever you want to call it. And so most of the people would volunteer, like the coaches and whatnot, and so we bring in money and we go buy food for the kids, lunch and all this stuff, and basically everything to the community was free. Like we did after school programs, we did weekend camps, brought food, and at one point we started planting a food forest, and everything was free to the community, right? And so I'm sitting there looking like, oh, this is awesome. And I wouldn't tell people, oh, this is socialism or communism. But after a while, when they're there and they're like, oh man, this is so nice and stuff. And I'm like, yeah. I was talking to this lady. She had a STEM thing, but they added art, so it was STEAM: science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And they did this program, right? And she would come to my thing, and she'd do the whole program with my kids for free. And she would bring her kid, and her kid would do all the other stuff, do her stuff, but all the other stuff too, right? We did taekwondo, capoeira, kung fu, basketball, tennis. But then I had doctors come. I work at a place called Hawaii Pacific Health. They're a nonprofit organization of hospitals, but I work with doctors and nurses. So I'd have them come and work with the kids and do different things with the kids, and it was really cool. But everything is free, right? And so I'm sitting there talking to this lady one time, and she'd been coming a while, and I'm like, this is so cool. I love it. I love communism. And she was like, she looked at me like, what? And I was like, man, this is communism. This is great. Like, and she's like, what do you mean? I was like, you're giving your time for free. You're not asking for nothing in return, right? We're working with the community, this and that. And my goal was to just grow, because if I could just grow that, because I worked at a few different, worked with IHS, the Institute of Human Services, which works with homeless people here in Hawaii. I worked with Kunia Village Development Corporation, which is a old Delmati pineapple plantation, which has a low-income housing on it. I worked with their kids. They had a gym there. I'd open the gym and run stuff there. But I worked all around, right? And I had these people going all around for free. And it was so cool. And I was so close to making this thing huge. But COVID, and then I had one bad other thing that went down. So, yeah. Back to, he doesn't know about communism and socialism. So this is getting a little bit odd. Propaganda about socialism in America.
It matters. The language matters.
It does.
And Gracie says Bernie is not past his day. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh.
I mean, I didn't say he's past his day, but Bernie Sanders is definitely not poised to be the leader of the Democratic movement.
No, he should be the leader of the progressive movement. Maybe not now, but he should have been. Should have taken it to the Green Party. But, yeah. We're all Democrats here,
I
it
mean,
seems.
maybe he can be if there's a new party, and maybe that's what we
There you
need.
go.
You know,
There you
I
go.
suggested this the other
Okay.
day that we should revive the Teddy Roosevelt's Great Bull Moose Party.
Why? What is
But is
that?
Bernie ready to lead a party? You know, I don't know. He's tried several times. I don't believe
He just tried to lead the wrong party. He tried to lead a corporate party that didn't want people in it. If he would have went to the Green Party, he'd have been able to lead it from 2016. He had 2 in a row presidencies, and we'd be on our third Green Party president in a row right now.
his base is big enough. His following is big enough. And again,
The masses of the people aren't big enough? What does that even mean?
he's really tainted himself with the socialism thing.
Oh my God, he's tainted himself as being a Democrat. Oh my jeez. How far right is this guy?
Let's see. One more about Bernie here. Bernie was beating Trump by 10 plus points in multiples in 2016. Yeah, well, again, that was more the anti establishment feeling. I had a lot of friends that liked Bernie and then voted for Trump,
Right.
right? In 2016.
Because they both said they were populist. But socialism, communism, these words you don't like, they use populism now. It's the same stuff. It's peopleism, populism. What the community is made of? What? The people. Society is made of what? The people. It's all the same thing. The right just wants you to not like words and doesn't want you to be able to communicate. They want you to not be able to understand words. And when people do what this guy's doing, he's helping you to not understand words. If you're a progressive, look up communism, socialism. Look up Fidel Castro. Look up why he was there. Who's Batista? Do you know who Batista is? The man, the fascist that Fidel Castro overthrew, that was backed by the United States. Like Jesus, if you're not a fascist, then you're probably a communist. Like you're either a capitalist or not. And when you take capitalism to its extreme, it's fascism. When you take community, it's socialism or whatever to its extreme, it's communism. You kind of one or the other.
Okay, mind you, in 2016, but their vote wasn't for Bernie or for Trump. It was anti-establishment.
Right.
It's the same. It's the
The
same.
establishment is the corporations, is the capitalist, anti-capitalist movement. But we let the capitalists take it by calling it populism so Donald Trump could take the movement that Bernie Sanders had. When the Democrat corporates did not want it, right? Because they wouldn't do what the people wanted. But Donald Trump talking, I'm a populist and I'm gonna cut taxes and I'm gonna doge this and that and whatever Mexicans and trans people. All right, then the kind of right wing populists can get with that, but no, left wing populists gets with that. But then they don't vote. They don't vote for Democrats. They just get disenfranchised and go somewhere else or just sit at home.
Same sentiment of why some people believe that Doge is doing a good job because they're going against the establishment, they're going against the machine, they're going against the deep state, the
So
swamp.
funny that Trump and Elon Musk are the establishment. They are the machine. And then people are going to vote in Trump talking about, I'm anti establishment. No, you're voting in the top daddy. They call him daddy. It's so crazy.
Whatever the fuck you want to call it. We have to make sure that we understand that that these things are broad. That most Americans paint politically with a very broad brush. They're not like us. People who really pay attention to politics can get down into the weeds about politics.
So that's as the Green Party, what we're gonna just start doing is going out into community, building community gardens, just talking to people. More than just knocking on doors, going into community and doing things with the people. You know, like running after school programs, doing weekend programs, things like that, to where we get to know you face to face more than once. Get to know your family and stuff if you want to be part of the programs, after school programs, or what do you call it? What I say? Permaculture programs, community garden stuff. You sitting there helping, getting your hands dirty, right? And then we're all just talking, chilling, kicking it.
And we can understand the difference. Most people do not.
Got to go out there and let them know.
Again, we shouldn't cripple ourselves with this. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, we got a Midas Touch comment here. John says, Midas Touch has strung us along with their clickbait and hopium. They covered for Garland. Tony Micheals says it like it is. I mean, and this doesn't sound like a question. It sounds more like a statement. I
Hopium.
talked about Jessica Denson's video last week where she kind of dug into their headlines and then challenged them. And then she's doing a
I was thinking about doing some videos on Midas Touch, but I guess they're the biggest podcast now in the, I don't know if it's the world or the U.S., but I don't know, their titles and their shows just haven't been interesting to me, so I haven't covered them. If you guys like the Midas Touch or want to see something about the Midas Touch, let me know. But I was just trying to look at them to maybe get some more followers. You know, you put the Midas Touch in your headline, maybe the Midas Touch people come over. But it just hasn't been interesting to me yet. So eventually, when they put out something interesting, I'll cover Midas Touch.
she's in DC this week. I actually talked to her. She's in DC this week for the 14th of March, 4-3 or 14-3 or 314. To symbolize the 14th Amendment, Section 3. Now, I have disagreements with her in those spaces, but I don't think that means that Jessica should be silenced. I welcomed her to come on the show. So, matter of fact, let's do this.
I'm gonna leave a comment in this episode and see if he'll bring me on the show if we can interview each other, talk to each other.
And I talked to her the weekend, and she gave me a shout out on her channel. So maybe we'll get her on the show. Maybe we can have her come on the show. But, the hopium copium thing is the problem that I have with some of the left-wing media.
Oh, so Midas Touch, from what I saw, is a Democratic backing channel. And so, again, that'd be center-right, not left-wing. And so, when people use words incorrectly, like he doesn't like communism, socialism, and then he's going to call center-right people left-wing, that's why. Now, the whole Overton window is just skewed and broken. I got to do a video on the Overton window. I'll do that this week at some point. Because our Overton window in the United States is just broken. It's just not at all correct. And this is why, and you can see it here, if you understand politics and you understand the Overton window and you understand, say, communism to fascism, and you understand stuff in between, like he doesn't understand the left at all so far, it doesn't seem.
That's probably the greatest knock that I can have against him is there's no reason for us to sit around and fluff Bernie. I mean, I could talk good about Bernie all day long, but the reality is that I don't know that he's the right one to carry the message.
He's just not carrying the right place.
Wrong on this. Are you talking about Bernie, or are you talking about how people feel? Because there's two.
Well, I mean, you see Bernie packing the houses still, man. Like, he's the right one in the wrong place. Go to the Green Party, go to DSA. He would pack this, even if he was in DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. He would still pack the house, and they would still get votes. I guarantee he would get delegates. I don't know if he'd win now because third time, voter fatigue type of stuff. But I mean, if he'd have went to DSA in 2016, I think he still would have won. I think the Green Party, because it's the Green Party, would be a little bit. They got more access and everything, but yeah, he's in the wrong place. He has the momentum, he has the movement, he has the people. He just takes it to where it's not wanted.
Two different things. Tony Micheals, I get the class war thing. Your problem is that poor Republicans will never vote anyone else but what is now MAGA. They've been voting against themselves for a long time. Right. Yes, I know.
I think we could pull MAGA people to the Green Party, like the Trump to Bernie or Bernie to Trump voters. I think that we could pull them to the Green Party doing just community good. Like I said, going out there with the gardens, going out there creating jobs, just doing like, if we do free after school programs, now you can work longer. Now you don't have to worry about your kid doing certain things. Now you don't have to pay for your kid to be in that after school program. You can save a little money, do something else. Things like that.
I certainly know. I know these people. These people are my family. I grew up with these people. I grew up around these people. I still listen to them to this very day. And I think that is fundamentally not true. It's fundamentally not true that these people who believe in liberal democracy, they just don't know it. If you use a little bit of finesse in your language and you use a little bit of finesse in how you co-opt a message, I think they can be won. I think they can.
Um, I kind of know what he means by finessing the language, but I don't like the word finesse because it brings a bad connotation. I wouldn't finesse people, but I think actions speak louder than words. Just do what needs to be done, and then say who you are and ask for their vote.
Sharon says, Tony, what do you think happened to X? Does this happen a lot? I lost mine years ago. So X always has some problems. I mean, it's one of the largest social media apps out there, and again, any kind of social media or any kind of internet thing is always going to have some glitches here or there. I mean, it most certainly is. Let's go check in on X, actually, Sharon. Let's see if we can pull this up. Here's the. I'm not.
Okay, so he's not talking much about Bernie Sanders anymore. Um, yeah, I'm again. I'm gonna reach out to him, see if we can get on the show together. I don't think he really understands the political spectrum all that well. So I guess we would talk about that a bit. But Bernie Sanders as a leader, I think Bernie Sanders can be a good leader. I just think he's in the wrong place. He can get people together. He's a great organizer. He might be a bad leader in that he's leading people the wrong way, right? Like if you lead people off a cliff, but you can lead if all the people follow you, but you lead them off a cliff, are you a good leader? So he's got all the people following him, but he is leading them off a cliff, taking them to the Democratic Party. So in that way, Bernie, are you a good leader? I guess if you describe it like that, no, you're doing the wrong thing. But you've done the right thing most of your career, and I would love to see you end out doing the right thing and just solidifying your history, your who you are. I mean, they'd make statues of you, Bernie Sanders, if you come to the Green Party, and whether you win president or you push somebody else to win president in 2028 as the Green Party president or Green Party leader, whatever. You would still have statues built of you. You didn't even want to be president. We will find somebody that you can push to be president. Bring your momentum, bring your movement here, and we will feed it. We will take it and we will make it grow, and we will do the things that you want to do, or at least you say you want to do. If you stick with the Democrats, then we got that center right. Do nothing, nothing happening. But we're gonna hopefully teach this guy about more of the Overton window from across the spectrum.